Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nuruddin Lemu. I'm a Director for Research and Training at the Da'wah Institute of Nigeria Islamic Education Trust. I'm also a Director of Lotus Capital Investment Limited. In the episodes we have been looking at over the last period, we have been looking into the subject of financial literacy, ways of securing halal sources of income, increasing the income, managing it in such a way that it grows, investing, but also how to spend in a more ethical manner. So we've been looking still at a couple of concepts on the subject of financial literacy, and in one of our last episodes we discussed the Fulani financial strategy, used mainly by rural Fulanis, but used the same principles you will find in various other ethnic groups. How eggs are managed in such a way that they hatch into chickens, how the chickens are managed so that they grow in number and the person can then sell and buy goats, and the goats are managed in such a way that they also increase in number and the person is able to sell and buy a cow, and the cows grow in number until they're able to sustain a family. We picked some lessons from that. How you view money that comes your way, or the money that is with you. The Fulani, rural Fulani father, when he looked at an egg, he saw potentially a herd of cattle. That if he manages this egg well, the egg can become a chicken. And if he manages the chickens well, they can become a goat. And if he manages the goats well, they can become a cow. And the cow can be managed to become a herd of cattle. So one was the difference between looking at something small like an egg, or 30 naira, or 50 naira, or 1,000 naira, or 5,000 naira, or 10,000 naira, looking at that as income versus looking at it as capital that can be invested and made to grow. The other lesson we learned from the Fulani strategy is the power of small. Starting with small, not saying I will wait till I get some big money. Start with small, you will make your small mistakes, but at least that is cheaper school fees in the school of experience. They say experience is the best teacher. It is better to learn things with small money than you wait until you make big money, and that's when you want to start business and you make big losses. Especially what makes it terrible is when you have OPM, other people's money. That's really bad. The thing also is to start now. Don't delay. To build a dam. In other words, you have where you put your money and it is growing. And when it reaches a particular size, you can now move into a new type of business. The way the Fulani move from eggs to chicken, chickens to goat, goats to cattle. The other thing is the diversity of business investments. That you have some money in chickens, some money in goats, some money in cows. Same thing. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Look at what other business opportunities are there that are convenient for you. But even if you're going to put your eggs in any basket, watch that basket. Trust but verify. Have a system of knowing what's going on in a business. Don't ever be ignorant about how things, you trust some consultant, you trust some investor, and we will inshallah look at this more carefully. The other lesson we learned is to delay gratification. The Fulani man was not celebrating and eating eggs, eating chickens just because they were plenty. No, he delayed that. Why? He had an aim for a herd of cattle for his son or for his daughter. And so most Fulanis, when they are going to get married, the girl goes or the lady goes to her husband's house with her own cattle also. She's not going poor. But where did those cows come from? Where did that herd of cattle come from? It started usually as a chicken that was managed while she was growing up into goats, managed until they had a cow and now cattle. So take responsibility for watching your investments. Aim high. Try and make sure the way you manage your investments would be such that what you leave behind for your children would be more than your parents left behind for you. What we find in the world is we're becoming a more monetary economy than things were in the past. Money is becoming more important. School fees, that's just increasing. Everything has inflation added to it. And so as we move into the future, rent will become everything you want. In the past, you wanted to visit somebody, you just walked. But now with the size of cities, people scattered, people traveling further than they traveled before, visiting people is becoming something that incurs costs. Communicating incurs costs. Going to work incurs costs. In the village, going to work, you didn't pay any transport. Now, everything is incurring costs. To teach Quran to your children, it incurs costs. The Malam charges money. School, as they say, if you think school fees is expensive, what is the cost of ignorance? Unfortunately, usually the best schools also pay the teachers the best. They have the best teachers, so the teachers collect higher salaries. Everything is increasing in cost. So try and make sure you aim high, that your children have a bigger and better opportunity than you had, and the next generation, inshallah, is better. But very importantly, start now, plan now, act now. The big word there is now. Not delay, inshallah, when I get a lot of profit, inshallah. No, start wherever you can. You will make mistakes, but that's part of the starting. That's part of the learning. Even if somebody gave you ₦1,000,000 naira, you will still make mistakes. Better to make small mistakes and learn the same lesson that would have cost you a higher amount. Personally, my mother had a very interesting plan that helped myself and my sister and the family. And this plan started in around 1983. I had just gone into secondary school, Federal Government College, Mina. Had just gone into secondary school, first year, when she collected the Barka da Sallah money. Every Sallah, people give you small cash, and in 1983, she took 75 naira from me, 75 naira from my sister Maryam, and she put 150 naira. In 1983, 300 naira bought us one calf. My dad was already keeping cows. 300 naira bought us one small calf. That calf we called Annabelle. I know we had different names we were thinking of giving the cow. My dad said, no, don't give them cows, or don't give cow name of Sahaba or whatever, no problem. So the cow was called Annabelle. Some years later, the cow grew and gave birth to Betty, B. Then C, Cordelia. Then Donald. Then Gertrude. Then Evelyn. And that's how, Donald. And that's how it continued over the years until we got Zoe. We got to Z. Every cow had an name starting with A. The next one was B, C, D, E, F, G, H, until we got to Z. What, however, also happened was, as a cow, when a male cow was born, 2 years later, you sell that one and buy 2 young females. So we had more females, and it grew exponentially. By around 1996, 97, I had finished my master's degree. I was out of the country, my sister was out of the country. My mom was the main one keeping an eye on, she had a whole photo album with the photograph of every cow, date of birth, who was the mother of this cow, who was everything about the cow. Why? Because of security reasons. Sometimes you'll hear, oh, this cow died, but you don't see the dead body of the cow, and you hear a rumor that the cow was actually sold by the person you had put in charge of the cows. So even though you trust these people, you're paying salaries and everything, she had a verification system that made 419 and corruption more difficult. But it was administratively intensive, going, checking and all of that. So Around 1997, 98, a new business opportunity had come where we could get money to have the sole distributorship of a particular brand of yogurt culture to yogurt makers in Nigeria. And alhamdulillah, we sold the cattle and went into that business, and that business grew very quickly into over a 10 million naira business where we were selling. We even started making yogurt, but we diversified, moving into land, moving into real estate, into farming, into poultry, buying shares of this business, etc. And the family became more financially self-sustaining. But it started with Barka da Sallah money. Saving, buying cattle, and allowing the cattle to grow. I don't remember eating the meat of any one of those cows. Yeah, there was that delayed self-gratification. Use the money to grow. Think of the long term. So as we look at financial literacy, as we look at this subject area, we need to all look at our own contexts. What would be the equivalent of an egg, of something small? Barka da Sallah money. Some little money you made, bonus from work, some small amount that you've been able to save, or which you know you can save. What opportunities exist that you can move that money into so that it doesn't just sit there? Because if the money is just sitting, it will be losing value due to inflation. Everything else is going more and more, getting more and more expensive. That money just sitting there doing nothing would actually lose value. So the need to put money where it also grows. And gradually, as we said earlier, you are able to build a dam. So we started with one cow, but gradually by the time we got to Z, we started again. And the new one was called Adam, I've forgotten Adam. And that's how we started again. So look also at how to reinvest dividend. That when you make profit, don't go and celebrate with the profit. No, let the profit go back into growing. Yeah. Don't look at it as this is income. No, look at every profit as new capital. And what else can that go into? And how do you diversify? We'll inshallah take a break. And when we come back, we'll move on to looking at certain specific areas you can start investing in. Still general, but one of the most important investments you can ever make in your life. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We're looking on the subject of financial literacy. And I'd like to start with a little fable, one of Aesop's fable about the goose that laid the golden eggs. The story goes that there was a farmer who had a goose, which is just like a big duck, dunya as they call it in Hausa. So he had this goose. It would lay eggs. One day, he went and he noticed that the goose had laid a golden egg. And he thought probably somebody is just cracking a practical joke on him. He looked at the egg. Kai. Anyway, he decided let him take it to a goldsmith in town. And he took the egg to the goldsmith and said, listen, is this real gold or what is it? The goldsmith looked at it, scratched and said, man, this is real gold. The farmer said, really? Yeah. How much would it cost? This one? If you don't mind, I'll buy it for 1 million naira. The farmer couldn't believe it. He said, yeah, give me the money. He said, no problem. I'll send you the money. He went back home, looked at the goose carefully. Oh, alhamdulillah. The next day, another golden egg. Third day, another golden egg. Fourth day, another golden egg. This goose was laying golden eggs every day. The farmer was happy. But as he was happy and making more money, He had bigger plans. I will have bigger house now. I will buy car. I will increase the size of my farm. I will go and do this. Big plans. But his plans were bigger than his income. He was making a lot of money, but he was also getting more impatient with the goose. So he will go to the goose, still laying one egg per day, and he will lift the goose, no egg. Okay, let's wait and see. Later he will come, carry the goose again, nothing. Lift the goose, nothing. Then he had an idea. He said, you know what? The next egg is inside the goose. I know what to do. I'm not going to wait. So he went and got a knife, lopped off the head of the goose, cut it open, and picked the last small golden egg, and that was it. He had killed the goose that laid the golden eggs. The big question is, if you had a goose that was laying golden eggs, how would you manage things, and would you do things differently? The goose is laying golden eggs. The goose has a production capability. It is able to produce. But it is producing one egg per day. So I asked some students, if you had a goose that laid golden eggs, would you manage it in the same way as the farmer? They said no. What would you do differently? I would be more patient. Okay. And very many ideas started coming. Somebody said, I will build one, the first money I will use for security, because if anybody knows about that goose that's laying golden eggs, they will come and steal my goose for me. I said, good. In other words, you will secure your source of income. What else? I said, you know what? I will make sure that the house of the goose even has air condition. Let the goose feel happy. If this goose is laying golden eggs, I will even get one male goose for the goose. Let him, let her have some company. Get a gander, they call a male goose. Go. I will have one big plasma screen television with nice view for the goose to be enjoying. In fact, I'll stop giving the goose dusa. I'll start getting cornflakes. I'll start getting really good food for the goose. I'll employ a vet doctor full time. If this goose coughs in the wrong way, Oga, what's the problem? I will allow the goose to start sitting on some golden eggs. I will not sell all of them. Or I will get some other geese, get the golden egg. Where this goose, you sit on this egg. I will buy incubator. I will all sorts of ideas of how to improve the production capability of the goose. And how is that done? By taking care of the welfare of the goose that is laying the golden eggs. The goose that is laying golden eggs, instead of just looking at it as a source of golden eggs, and all you want is your golden eggs. Another way of looking at it is, look at the goose that is laying golden eggs as the source of your golden eggs. Golden eggs are just the effect. So how do you build the capacity of the goose to give you more golden eggs, bigger golden eggs, sustained production of golden eggs? How do you take care of the welfare of the goose? How do you build the capacity of the goose? Making it more comfortable, making it more secure, making it safer, making the goose happier. So if we take that metaphor and we draw an analogy between the goose that is laying the golden eggs and you yourself. You see, golden eggs represent the product or the service you offer. And people are ready to pay you for the service you offer, for the goods you supply. The question is, can you improve your production capability? Can you improve your ability to produce bigger, larger, more carat gold eggs? Can you deliver more superior service? So when you have a goose that is laying golden eggs, the best investment you can do is in improving the production capability of your goose, of your investment. You are your biggest and most important investment. You are your biggest and most important investment. And the question is, if you are an asset, how can you build your capability? What capacity building do you need to grow as a producer of golden eggs? If people are paying you salary, it's because you are offering something. What can you do to lay better golden eggs, to give superior service? Because some of us carry a lot of excess baggage. We read this, and it's not useful in improving our service to community or our service in our working environment. So please remember, you are asset number one that you should build. You should have a program, not of waiting for somebody to educate you, waiting for somebody to train you, waiting for somebody to build your capacity. Build your own production capability. So focus on better training, better education, better capacity building of yourself. Of all the assets and things you can invest in, you are asset number one. Why? Without you, the rest won't happen. You are your most important asset. You need to be a goose that is laying golden eggs. But a goose to lay golden eggs or better golden eggs cannot be any ordinary goose. You have to have gold to offer. Your knowledge, your wisdom, your skill, your training has to be able to give superior quality. Remember also that life moves at the speed of trust. When people pay you, it's because they trust you can deliver. It's the exchange they get or the amount they are ready to give is because of what they think they are going to get. If you can give more quality, you can negotiate a better pay. But people trust for two reasons. Two things about trust that you should not joke with. Remember, life moves at the speed of trust. Relationships move at the speed of trust. If you break trust, people will not pay you well. Two areas. I could mention three, but two are very closely related. The two are your character and your competence. If you have a mechanic who has good character but poor competence, you trust his character, but you don't trust his competence. He doesn't know really how to repair a car. You can't trust such a mechanic. So you need to trust character and competence. If he is good with competence but character is a problem, then you also have a problem. So you need good character, good competence. Tied to character is good attitude. Actually, for people in resource management, the biggest reason why people are fired from a working environment is not really competence. It's usually character. They are siphoning the money, they are wasting money, they are not doing what they should do, they've got an attitude problem, they don't apologize, they keep fighting, they start office politics, they keep producing excuses. So character, very important. And in an environment where there's so much corruption, 419, chuku chuku, magu magu, chua chua, all the various things that undermine character and undermine trust, if you have good character, that's a very powerful asset. Because sometimes people will keep you in the working environment. Why? Because they know if you're around, others will not cheat. So they can forgive your incompetence. But for you, if you want to be a goose laying golden eggs, build those three things. Your character, your attitude, your competence. And during this shutdown mode in Corona times, or any kind of shutdown mode, curfew, whatever, use it as an opportunity to grow in your ability to lay golden eggs. Not when Corona is over, start now. What service can you offer now to your working environment? That your boss will appreciate you now. That you can start laying golden eggs by giving better advice, better ideas, better suggestions to improve your work. Don't use this as an excuse for holiday and just bludging and relaxing. No. Use this as an opportunity to grow and ask yourself, how can I work better from home? Should I move to an Android phone? Should I get a laptop? What can I do so that the people at work who are still paying my salaries, when they come to start firing people, you will not be among those on the list they want to fire. When they even start thinking of what to do about the business, they want people like you because they know you care. You've got the character and you are building your capacity. So be the best version of yourself. Remember, in every profession, the top 20%, the top 20% are never jobless. The top 20% in every profession. You know, when people say, oh, there's no money, no job in this sector, but there are people working there. And there are people working there. If they leave, there's another job working for them. Why? Because they are the best in that area. Whether it's media, whether it's IT, whether it's medicine, whether it's business. The top 20% are never jobless. What can you do to build your capacity? Work to learn, not to earn. Work to learn, not to earn. It's not about just making money. No, money is a byproduct of better service. Everywhere you work, learn your mistakes, apologize, and you will earn more. When you are playing basketball, you don't keep looking at the scoreboard. Play the game well, the scoreboard will change. Another thing, work more than you are paid, and you will eventually be paid more than you work. Work more than you are paid, and you will eventually be paid more than you work for. Don't just look, I will only give what I'm being paid for. Work more. It's when you put more firewood on the fire that the fire grows. You don't say the fire, give me more fire, then I will put more firewood. So in conclusion, build yourself, build your capability, but also as much as possible, build those around you. Take care of your friends, build family members, just as you will build your children. They become social insurance. At the end, you all grow in your capability to do more. So like the goose that lays golden egg, build your production capability. We'll stop here inshallah. Until next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.